Yo, what's good? Welcome back to another trade recap video, boys. So today, gonna do the same thing as before. The other recap's gonna do slight little replay mode and just kind of show you guys what I was thinking going into the trade. So if you guys are new here, my name is AJ, and I've been trading for just about 2 years now. So make sure to go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Day 3 is gonna be out probably within the next hour and a half, 2 hours. Stay on the lookout for that. Also go watch day 2 and day 1 if you haven't already. This is just gonna be crazy for you guys. It's gonna be so helpful, so useful. So don't leave it behind. It's gonna help you out a lot, and it's currently helping a lot of people. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get straight into this recap. So if we look here, we'll go in like the 5 minute just to make this slightly easier. So we can see that obviously Asia accumulated, London kind of accumulated, right? We kind of had some up and down moves, but for the most part, I mean, it's pretty accumulative. It's not really giving us a general direction, right? We put in a low, put in a high, put in another low, put in a high, put in a higher low, right? And, you know, London kind of sells off. We end up taking out these low resistance lows here, leaving this low here and leaving the Asia low. So reason being for that, right, there was still a possibility at this point that we could come down and take these lows, but after seeing that we respect the mid-eyed open right over here with these candlesticks here at this level, and then seeing this SMT here, it kind of gave me the idea that, okay, we're probably going to end up being bullish for the day. We had some clear draws and liquidity. We had the lunch high, we had this new week opening gap, we had the EHPD array, and the Thursday AM highs, and then of course previous day highs. So if you guys don't know what an EHPD array is, it's just kind of like a whole bunch of brain rot shit. It's called an event horizon PD array. All it is, you know, I don't really look at it too much. It just made sense to target today for my partial. But if we look here, let me go to the NWOG, you'll notice that all this is, if we go ahead and take our ruler from the top or the bottom, it doesn't matter, it could be either way. So we'll just go from top of this new week opening gap to the top of this new week opening gap. And you'll notice that the midpoint, or the average between these two areas, is that event horizon PD array. So that dotted line is what that is, and that's where I took my first partial at. So regardless, let's just go ahead and get into the recap. So basically, it was a clear buy model, right? We had our smart money reversal here, we had the SMT here at these lows, right? You could see that this lunch low was taken by ES and was never taken on NQ. So we had an SMT, and I just wanted to see us continue on. So you could also look at the daily opening price too as well, right? 6 p.m. that's the new day, right? You see we print the opening price here, and then we put in the wick of the daily candle, the bottom wick of the daily candle here. So we have our open, low, and then our high close, whatever that's going to be. We might have some sort of retracement by the end of the day, but we'll see. So what I was looking at here, right, you'll notice this candle is the 9:30 opening price. So we'll head back down to the 1 minute time frame so you guys can see this. So this was what I was looking at. We have this 1 minute gap here that you guys can see. We have the same exact gap on ES, right? We trade into it on both indices, which did not tell me that there was no SMT. Keep in mind, we did have this SMT here as well, so I was expecting that this low was going to be protected, and all this price here seemed to be balanced, so I didn't want to expect price to come down to this level anyways. And if you go to the 2 minute, 3 minute, okay, yeah. So if you look, we have our 2 minute gap, and we basically inverse it and then tap straight back into it. But you'll notice as well, inside of that 2 minute, we have this new week opening gap. And you'll notice that pullback goes right to the midpoint of that new week opening gap, and then that sends us higher. So go back down to the 1 minute. What am I waiting for? Right, it's 9:25. Let's go to the open, right? So just blue, blue, blue. Okay, boom. This was the opening price. So you can see here, this low, what am I looking at here? Okay, here. So this low here at 924 was swept out by ES. And the reason this is an SMT, if you look here, it's swept out on MNQ, but if we go to NQ, okay, notice 934 or 924, sorry, that candle, you could see it wasn't swept out. So that was the SMT. I went to the NQ chart to see, and that's what it told me. So let's go back to the MNQ chart. That was our SMT, immediate displacement, draw on liquidity, draw on liquidity, draw on liquidity, draw on liquidity, right? Lots of room to the upside. Very clear long today. If you were short today, just DM me and I will help you, okay? We have this SMT. I'm expecting this low to be protected, okay? So what happens next? We get really close to the draw on liquidity, right? I'm not FOMOing. I know that this is a draw on liquidity, and I know there's higher draws on liquidity, so I don't care if it gets hit. There's always going to be another entry, right? So what happens? It gets hit. We also tap into this. Oh, that's the 30-minute order block from yesterday. So we tap that, right? We don't even really need that right now. So you'll notice that we actually came up here and swept the lunch high from yesterday on NQ, but we failed to do that on ES. But regardless of that bearish SMT, I was still expecting price to manipulate higher into this, creating that SMT, and then sending us slightly lower to rebalance to stop out everyone that's long to then get that move higher, right? If there was a way more prominent SMT with not as clear bullish structure, then that kind of would have hesitated me to go long. But in today's case, it just made sense. So at this point, what am I waiting for? Literally just a pullback. Remember my market structure video, I told you guys, low, high, higher, low, right? Every pullback, after every swing low that gets created, I wait for the pullback and then I enter on the inversion, right? So what do we wait for? Pullback. Boom. We get the pullback. EQ of this range, right? This low to this high. We rebalance the equilibrium, okay? Equilibrium has been rebalanced. Now what am I looking for? We have this SMT now because look, ES came down and swept the 931 low. ES swept the 931 low and NQ failed to sweep that same exact low at 931. So now, what do I see here? I don't see any gaps. I don't see nothing. Okay, so I go down to the 30 second because I know this could be potentially a good setup here. So what do I see now? Here's this exact same 30-second gap here. You'll notice this candle at 937. Look at where we are on ES. It didn't inverse, okay? So what I do, I like to wait for this to inverse on both. So once we inverse here at 938, that's when I'm more confident in entering. Sure, I could have longed this, stop like, a little bit below this inversion, maybe below this candle body here or this candle wick here, but I wanted to be extra cautious. I wanted to have extra confirmation. And waiting for ES and NQ to both align gives me the most conviction possible. So what do we wait for, right? 937, okay, 938, okay, nothing yet. And then boom, the 938 and 30-second candle inverses. So what do? I notice, okay, we have this order block here. There is a possibility, since we already inversed it and tested back into it, that we're not gonna tap this. So the second I see one small black candle, I'm buying that shit. And what do we know? Boom, I buy it. And immediately, within a minute, first take profit gets hit. I have my second take profit up here. But what happens is we end up retracing slightly right there. Small accumulation, we manipulate at the highs, right? And we leave this drawn liquidity here. But what else do we notice? ES fails to take the high. So we have a bearish SMT here. I'm still bullish on the day, right? So all I'm expecting this bearish SMT to do is sell price back into the range here, into some sort of key level with an SMT. Then I would expect price to continue on to the drawn liquidity here and previous day high, right? So that's basically what happened. So obviously I moved my stop loss to here. I don't want to move it here because after seeing an SMT like this, there is a very, very high chance that the Thursday AM highs are going to be saved for, 30 minutes, an hour later, right? And that's what happened. I get stopped out in profit, right? And what happens here? We get a nice sell-off, okay, right here, and we end up putting equal lows here with the same exact low, right? You'll notice this one here at 948 and 30, but we can go back down to the 1 minute now because it doesn't really matter. So you'll notice here as well, this wick, right? We rebalance back down to equilibrium of the range, just like I showed you on the 1 minute. The 30-second with my trade that I took. Rebalance, sweep the low inside of this 5-minute gap, and then what else? Well, this wick here came down and swept this AM low at 930. So we have a bullish SMT here, right? Bullish SMT. So now, since we rebalanced to a 5-minute, we're in a discount, we have an SMT. Obviously, I can expect price to run the Thursday AM highs. Why would I be bearish if I'm seeing something like that? You can't let these moves affect you. And you can't see this inversion here and be like, oh, it's shorts. Let's short down to these levels. No, look at order flow. Understand what price is doing, and realize not every inversion is gonna work, bro. Okay. So, and also keep in mind the time as well, right? We still have 10 a.m. news, right? We still have all these different things, but it's clear, at least from this point of view, what we want to do, right? This is everything I want to see in a trade. This is exactly what happened with this 30-second trade here. SMT inside of the key level, and then we get an inversion, and we're in a discount. SMT inside of our 5-minute key level in a discount. Same shit. It's the exact same shit. I do the same thing every day, and you guys can do the same thing. It's my strategies literally on YouTube for free. But of course, in the mentorship, I'm going to get way deeper into it. So stay on the lookout for that, of course. And subscribe to the YouTube. What am I looking at now? Okay. So if this truly is a valid bullish SMT, I'm expecting us to leave this low, put in some sort of swing low somewhere to indicate that that low is going to be protected, and then we will move higher off of that. So what happens? Boom, we put in a beautiful swing low with a beautiful SMT. Amazing, right? And what did we leave behind? A 1 minute gap. Would you look at that? So same concept applies. I want to wait to see if ES closes through, and if ES closes through around the same time as NQ, I'll long it, right? Obviously, I took one trade on these accounts here, and I actually did take a trade on my friend's account because he's not been feeling the best, and I felt bad, so I ended up taking a second trade on his account, and I'll show you guys that in a second, but here it is, right? We end up not closing on that candle, and you'll notice that ES did not close either. Next candle we play out, boom, it closes through. Okay, beautiful rejection or beautiful close through. You'll notice the same exact candle at 9:56 closes through ES2. So now what do I do? Well, since we came up and swept this internal high here, I'm just waiting for a small pullback. So that's where I get in on my friend's account, actually on two of his PA accounts, and I move my stop right here below these lows because I'm not expecting price to even come down to this opening price here at 9:52. I'm expecting it to maybe take these lows here and then just reverse. But obviously there is a chance that it could just tap this and run, and I don't want to wait for these lows. I'll just move my stop below that, right? And what happens? We get a small pullback. I'm not scared of news. I know what news is going to do. News is probably going to potentially mess around, but I know the draw is higher, right? I don't usually expect these types of news days. I think we had PMI today. Yeah. PMI doesn't really do anything crazy. From my experience, it makes a pretty small candle from what I know. So obviously my stops here, it should have been around like 329 on that account, on those two accounts that I was trading my friend's account on. And I just was targeting this right here. And that was a very smart decision on my end because if I just wanted to go for, an extra 10 points, that would not have worked because we ultimately swept this internal high, created another bearish SMT, and what do you know? We get this inversion here, right? Obviously, this candle inverses here at 10:11, but we don't inverse it on NQ. So, depending on your conviction, depending on how comfortable you are with the way that you trade, you would either not take this or you would, right? In my personal opinion, okay, we do have a bearish SMT at these highs, but there's not really much else that I could go off of. There's only an SMT, right? We're in a deep premium, but there's no key level necessarily, right? You could say that this wick here on the 30-minute is a bearish order block or, a supply zone, but it didn't make sense, right? So I took that long, took the profits at the high, and that was it. I called it for the day. And obviously, we end up selling back off, and we put in a low here. And you'll notice, again, it's the same thing every single day. Go to the 5-minute. Look at this. What happens? ES comes down into this 5-minute gap, right? Look at this. 910. 910 low is taken. 910 low is not taken. This is textbook shit, guys. It happens almost every day. And a lot of days, they're not clear. And that's why I only took 2 trades this week. Because Thursday, my mind was not right. I got no sleep. Second I got on the charts, I didn't feel good at all. And I realized my mental state was not there, so I had to get off the charts. Wednesday, no trade, basically. Tuesday, no trade. But I did get a trade on Monday. Right? I think it was Monday. Yeah, I think it was Monday. It was either Monday or Tuesday. I don't know. Go back and check. I don't really remember. I don't journal anymore. I journaled a lot in the process of becoming a better trader, but I don't really journal anymore now. But either way, okay, we get a beautiful SMT here inside of our key level, right? Now, what do we see here? Okay, we have a 1-minute inversion for value gap. We could look in the 2-minute. Do we have an IFVG on the 2-minute? No. We just have one 1-minute gap. So, what happens here? We inverse it at 10:24, and we inverse it as well on ES at 10:24. It's beautiful, right? No highs were taken beforehand on ES, right? It's so perfectly aligned. This is what I love to see. Thank God January price action's back, okay? So, what happens here? You could ideally enter off of this candle closure here, or you could wait for a pullback. It just depends. So what happens? We end up getting that pullback into that inversion. Actually, we don't. We edge it by like a tick. See, look at that. Wow. Yeah, we never get the pullback into it, but if you notice here as well, we leave behind a fair value gap. The reason we tap this, or the reason we don't come down and fully fill this inversion, or don't fully fill the inversion tap, is because of this fair value gap and this displacing move off of this key level with the SMT. So what can you target, right? So we have the bearish SMT, which sends us lower, but I'm still long for the day. So where could you partial, right? Well, we have a 5-minute gap here. Okay. And then we also have the draws and liquidity up here, right? So what do? Boom, entry right there. Let's just do this, because why not, right? Your stop, that was our manipulation back into the discount of this range, right? If you were to enter this realistically, right? Entry here, your stop loss should probably be below this low, right? And if you're looking at this in terms of equilibrium, right? So here to here, right? We have this inversion here, but this inversion is quite big, right? Usually when you take inversions, you put the stop below the inversion or above the inversion. But since this gap is quite big, you'd leave the stop just below the inversion. And what happens? You rebalance the equilibrium and immediately reject. This move here stops out so many people, it's not even funny. So obviously from here, it sends us higher. You could partial at the 5-minute gap, right? Boom, there's your partial. And then obviously you can move your stop to break even if you're comfortable doing that, or you could just leave your stop where it is. Just depends on how you trade. And of course, small accumulation, nothing really too crazy here, but you'll notice before we get the big move, we wait for another SMT. Where's the other SMT? Right here. This low here at 1038 was never swept out by the 1110 low. If you look on ES, same exact low. I mean, they're equal lows, but we can mark the same one. 1111. 1111 sweeps out. Wait, what? Hold on. Okay, it's weird, but it's still an SMT. It's like kind of off, but it's the 1111 and then the 1110. But regardless, it doesn't matter. We have another bullish SMT inside of what? There's not really a key level here, but we do have what? Wow, would you look at that? Equilibrium again. Holy shit. Is this even real, chat? Is this even real? Equilibrium, like literally to the tick. Look at that. Boom. That in itself could be your key level, okay? That's enough confluence for me. I don't need a gap. It helps. But just off of price action and the order flow that I'm seeing, this is good enough for me, right? So what happens here? We get the pullback, right? We have all these inefficiencies here. So what can you wait for? Okay, we don't have a 5-minute. We don't have a 4-minute. We got a 3-minute. So what can you do? Wait for the 3-minute to close. Boom, 3-minute closes. You can enter long there, wait for a pullback. In this case, since we displaced above this high, creating a chain of state delivery, it would probably just be smart to enter there and move your stop just below this gap and target the previous day's high, all right? And what happens? Doesn't tap you in, immediately goes straight to the Thursday AM high that I wanted initially in the morning, and then pumps straight to previous day high. Complete drawn liquidity for the day, done, right? And I'll just get out of there, I guess. But yeah, boom, it's done. That's it. We have an NWOG up here, and I didn't look at price up to this point. Let me see, I'm actually curious. Okay, so we did run that low resistance liquidity there, beautiful. And I feel like we did make it up there. Oh, congrats, trader. Okay. Yeah, so basically we're right here. I think we're definitely gonna hit it. But yeah, this was a little longer than I usually make videos, but I just wanted to get in depth, like really in depth with you guys today on this trade and just kind of get it all out the way. So this was my trade, of course. I don't want you guys to see my friend's information, so I'm just gonna cut this real quick and show you his account. So as you can see here, this is his account, not mine. And you can see here the balance 55,664 on his first PA account, and he's got his second PA account with a balance of $2,700. So we're going a little bit higher size on his account because he needs money, and yeah, we're getting some big payouts here. So yeah, boys, I'll leave y'all with that. Stay tuned for the next trade recap next week. Stay tuned for day 3 of the mentorship, and yeah, I'll catch you guys next week. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I hope you guys had a great trading day today. But without further ado, I'll let you boys go, and see you guys next week. Peace.